Fasting isn't just about losing weight. Fasting is a lifestyle. It's about giving your body time away from food. It's about giving your mind time to stop thinking, when's my next meal going to be? Because do you really need it? Today, I want to talk about rewiring your brain not only to fast, but to build productive and healthy habits. But first, welcome to day 118 of my fasting journey, my weight loss journey, my health and wellness, health and happiness journey. Tonight, I'll be breaking my 29th consecutive fast, consistent rolling fast in 16 plus weeks. 29 of them, averaging nearly 94 hours per fast with an average eating window of 4 hours. To summarize, for the past 4+ months, I've been averaging nearly a 4-day fast, followed by a 4-hour refeed, followed by another 94-hour-ish fast, followed by another 4-hour refeed, rinse, repeat, fast, feast, repeat. This morning, I weighed in at a record low 147.6 pounds or 67 kilos. That's a total loss of 70.2 pounds or 31.8 kilo in 118 days. That means I'm 7.6 pounds or 3.5 kilo away from hitting my goal weight of 140 pounds. 90.2% of the way there. And once I hit goal, I'll be in my maintenance phase. At this rate, I'm guessing maybe in the next 5 weeks, by early April. But let's get back to the topic at hand and talk about why it's so important to look at fasting more than just losing weight, but as a way to build good and productive habits. I believe wholeheartedly for someone like me, it's not healthy to eat back-to-back days. Now, I'm not saying it's unhealthy for you, but someone like me in my position who deals with binge eating, who can eat 4, 5, 6, 7,000 plus calories sometimes in a short amount of time, needs a little time away from food. I obviously also need time to continue working on my issues with binge eating in general. There are some people who probably think it's just about how long I'm fasting for and all the exercise I'm doing, and that's why I'm able to lose weight even though I'm eating the calories that I do. And in a way, that's technically true, but there's so much of a mental part of it that I can't really just explain on paper. And that's why these videos are so important, to talk about the mindset and knowing if you're capable of doing these fasts. Can you do it on a consistent basis? Is it too much for you? Is it too mentally taxing? These are the questions that you can only answer for yourself as you continue your journey. But I look at fasting as a way to reset my body, but also reset my mind, to push food away from my thinking for some time. I have demons, for lack of a better term, that I deal with when it comes to eating. If I was given all the time in the world to eat, that's all I would do. That's all I would think about. That's all that would be on my mind. But because I fast and I set boundaries for myself of when to eat and when not to eat, it's very helpful for me. These are the sacrifices that I make with being able to eat whatever I want, but it also means I need to give myself some boundaries when it comes to when I can eat. But I've only learned that through time, through experience, through trial and error. And only you are going to know what works when you do it, if you do it, when you build consistent habits, when you rewire your brain essentially to build these good, productive, healthy habits. Only then will you find out what works and what doesn't, or what can continue to work, or what you need to work on better. You're only going to know until you do it, until you try. But when I push food away from my thinking for some time, it gives me time. It gives me time to work on myself. It gives me time to work on my body, my mind. It gives me time to heal. And in that time, I've started to learn to stop thinking in such a black and white, all or nothing personality. Fasting used to be about perfection for me, and in a lot of ways, it still is. It's either I eat or I don't eat. That's the perfection I'm talking about, but it goes deeper than that, because that perfection turned into, you need to fast for this many hours. You can only eat for this many hours. You have to exercise X times amount per day. There was no in between. If I didn't do as I had set out for myself, then I'd blow the entire thing up. And then I'd binge eat and then I'd procrastinate again. And then it would be days or weeks or months or even years before I would get and try this journey again. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about when it's time to break that cycle of thinking, to stop looking at it as such an all or nothing type deal. You need to stop looking at fasting for a week or fasting for 21 days as either complete success or complete failure. You need to look at fasting for however long you can fast for as an opportunity for growth, to see what works for you, to see how it feels mentally. Is it something you can do consistently? And if it isn't, then you kind of go back and try different methods, different ways of fasting. Fasting for shorter periods of time and then doing a longer one in the middle and then doing a couple shorter ones again, building that fasting muscle. But you're not going to know any of this if you give yourself a 1 week fast, you can't do it, you blow it all up, and then you don't come back for another month. How are you going to build consistent, productive, healthy, good habits if that's what you're going to do time and time again? You need to break that cycle. Think about all the times your all or nothing personality, your all or nothing attitude rewarded you when you gave it your all versus when you gave up because your all was too difficult. And think about how long it took to get back on the wagon. Think about all the time you've wasted instead of doing something that's actually doable for you, something in between that you can build up over time doing, and then really figuring out the process of how you can lose weight consistently. It doesn't mean that you can't give fasting your all or be your best. It doesn't mean that at all. By all means, give it your all. Give yourself big goals, but also be okay with not being the best and just being good. Not being perfect or doing things perfectly, for me at least, the more I think about it, seems like a big excuse to binge eat. It seems like a big excuse to push away or procrastinate from doing the hard things that I have been meaning to do. But also because I think I've set myself up for failure because I give myself these huge goals and then get discouraged when I don't do exactly as I set out in my mind. And that's the part of rewiring your brain that I think so many of us need to change. Why are you self sabotaging? Why isn't a 36-hour fast good enough even though you set up for a 72? Why blow it all up? What's wrong with refeeding and starting your fasting timer again? Why do you have to stop exercising because you broke your fast early? Why eat throughout the rest of the night instead of just shortening your eating window and then starting another fast? Losing this weight through fasting a second time around is a testament to my growth. I came back with expertise, experience, and knowledge. I understood that my mental health was a weaker point the first time around. I understood that sometimes not being honest with myself or not owning my all or nothing personality was hindering from my progress. Don't fall for the same tricks your brain plays on you day after day after day. You're stronger than that. You're better than that. You don't have to be perfect. You can find progress in the small steps and celebrate the bigger steps along the way. You can find growth in your shortcomings. You can learn from your mistakes. All it takes is getting up again and hitting that fasting timer versus not even opening the app for a week because it was too hard and you gave up. Trust me, I know what that's like. I've been there. I've done it. There's no shame in breaking. There's no shame in hitting that fasting timer again. Let me help you rewire your brain, rewire your thinking when it comes to building good, productive, healthy habits that you can take with you for the rest of your life. Calendly.com/finallyfasting for weight loss, fasting, and accountability coaching. I'll see you soon.